All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. So the house behind me is for sale. So this is going to conclude the whole, I think it's the Project 31 playlist, where we followed construction footings with the first time with the bag system, fast form, whatever. I know. I had to leave that day to go see a John Mayer concert, so that was fun. Anyway, foundation all the way through framing and siding and deck, front stairs. That's probably about it. And so now we're back. The house is on the market. It's finished. It's landscaped. And so Brian, if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, so Awesome Framers is just kind of something for fun. Pioneer Builders is actually the company that our dad started. And Brian does all the smart stuff, and I do all of the heavy stuff.
Truth be told, he may end up doing another one of these videos because if pattern holds, this house will never sell. It will be rented, and then someday in the future it'll sell.
The last 2 times that we did a video like this at the end of a spec house, they sold.
Boom.
Pretty quick. Like 150 sold within, I think, a month. So anyway, that's on you, the viewer. So we're going to put the link.
Click subscribe, buy here.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there an affiliate thing? Affiliate commission for houses? Anyway, so we'll put the link to the MLS, the listing, and all that good stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a 360-degree around the house, and we'll just point out things, features, maybe explain why we made certain decisions and what drives that. So take it away.
So I hate to say it, but it is a mid-entry house. I do not like the term split entry. Mid-entry sounds better. But basically the house, the lot itself comes up in elevation. The back of the house retains the soil on the backside. Even here, you probably aren't able to tell it too much, but the concrete comes up and you've got some of the house itself that has soil placed up against it. So there was a ton of elevations that we had to figure out.
So the site kind of dictated to some degree what house plan we put on here.
In hindsight, we shouldn't have built this house here. That's the reality. It probably should have been over there.
Just slid the whole thing that direction.
And it should have been a master down. Thankfully, Dad doesn't watch any of these videos. He has not always been the best of planners, and his line has been, if you build it, they will buy. Well, not always.
He's apparently a Kevin Costner fan.
Yes. Just tons of windows on the house. We're climate zone 4C. It doesn't get too terribly cold or too terribly hot. Our houses are tight.
Goldilocks zone.
Goldilocks zone, yep. Buildings, positive energy. That's where I learned that term. But it allows just a lot of light on the inside. So as we come around, these are insulated garage doors. They were an accidental upgrade. I think there was like a metal backing that was put on it. It was nice. It was better for them just to leave what we got.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Versus, yeah. So even your garage door spec you can get into. I'll show you the Thermotraks later. As we come around, there was a lot of stormwater management that we had to do, which is why we have this.
And part of that's because the golf course is right there.
Yeah, tons of water sheds from the golf course potentially onto this site. Thankfully, we were able to maneuver it around. Hey, speaking of which. Yes. Oh no. Couple of little things. This is not how I would have preferred to have done it, but this is how it was at the end of the day. We have a little catch basin here. This comes down into a bowl, and then we just discharge the stormwater out that direction. This is an egress window, so it kind of worked out here. I much prefer to use retaining walls or things of that nature. You get a lot more light. You don't have like a sunken window well.
And the last time we built this, I think out at Rosemary, I think that was a door. I don't think we had a window.
You're right.
So this was light and egress.
Yep. Yeah, so it's an actual, you've got 2 points of escape in case of an emergency, or it's actually an escape and rescue opening. So that's part of the equation a lot of people don't think about with the building code, is it's also if somebody has to come in and rescue you because you can't get out. Escape and rescue opening. Here's one of our heat pumps. It's got the Titan AirX, two sets of refrigerant lines that come into this. So it's probably just a 2-porter. Let's see here. Yeah. So we've got a ducted unit up in the attic, and then we've got a ductless unit in the bedroom down here. We've got 2 sets of 2 heat pumps in the house, 3 indoor units. So from the outside, This is the master bedroom. This is the bathroom. And I think stormwater is one of those stories. So up here is the golf course, and Greg ended up putting this in just to keep it from eroding. Even though I think we added bark to all this, it was just wanting to wash out.
Well, and we noticed the whole time we were framing, like this sprinkler head on the golf course always was spraying here.
Yeah. So if you're downstream, you just have to kind of handle it and put the water where it's supposed to go, and it's easiest not to fight it.
And we've been through a very wet winter. We haven't had any water
this
issues.
Looks just fine.
Yeah.
Just fine.
So we know it works.
And then its path of travel comes in here, and it just runs down this riverbed as it needs to. This is our third catch basin in here. Under this is a perforated pipe to collect any groundwater that could come in. So you've got the surface water and the groundwater.
Out to the ditch and then...
Out to the ditch. Yep, and then it just daylights. Another one of the Titan Air-X. They sent over a few different types and sizes, and they are just nice.
Much better looking than when we used to cut blocks around everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a whole new code even as far as sealing up on the inside of the house. Ultraviolet radiation is why this is so good, so
why
that you don't.
Wrapped now.
Yep. So that you don't degrade the insulation that's around your refrigerant lines.
One thing is just the fact that we stuck with LP SmartSide for everything on the exterior, including, I think this was the first time we ever used the shingle panel, which I have since decided that if I was building my own house, I would do the whole thing with shingle panels because they're so small and easy to install. Oh, and we should mention, we take a very different approach to the stairs. Instead of going with like composite decking, Trex, whatever, notching, pressure treated 2x12 for stringers, 4x12 with concrete treads, precast in Vanaway, I think. They're like $55 a concrete tread, including all the hardware.
Do you know if they put any reinforcement in there, like number 3 bar
yeah,
or anything?
Yeah, it's number 3 bar, like their diagram that gives you, they're like 2.5 inches by 12. And the diagram gives you the number 3 bar, the reinforcement. Cool. And then on the next time we do this, we're using their open tread. So I have one more rise than I need to get below that 4-inch spacing. So it's a little shallow, but they make one that has a lip that I gotta call them, is that on the front or the back? So that it's the same one, but it has just a little bit of a lip so you can go a little farther between them. And
if it's on the back, it'll have to be up. If it's on the front, it would be coming down.
Well, I mean, it comes out of the bottom. Yeah. But I don't know if that's supposed to be the facing toward the...
Could you imagine doing all of them wrong?
Is that what we got over there?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we'll start that soon. So 3-car garage?
3-car garage. Couple of things to focus on here is going to be the Thermotraks. So this helps with air sealing, which is kind of unique for a garage. I would think, and it's a whole system. Where your wheels come in from your doors is it pushes it forward, but then there's also this weather strip that isn't typically installed. Okay. This is your trim piece that you always have. Mm-hmm. This comes in. I've thought about the building science behind it. I would say if you were doing mechanical work, like you're working on a car or something like that, it would be kind of nice because you'd be able to keep it warmer.
Okay.
But one of the bigger things is just keeping bugs out. And they've got a solution for your door sweep, like all sorts of things to help it out. So yeah, that was kind of nice. Sound, that's one of the parts of the equation.
So if we were upstairs inside the house and this door goes down, it's not, because we've got 2 bedrooms right above us.
Yep.
It's not as loud for those that might be sleeping?
No, more like if you were on a highway or something like that.
Okay.
Sound travels through air easier than it travels through other medium. So if you have your door closed, it's insulated, it's air sealed, it's just going to be quieter in the house.
The little style, instead of a straight bar, I guess I'm at a bit of a loss. So the fact that it kind of curly cues down.
Yeah.
How does that help with sound?
So normally...
When it's closed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, and you'll see it when you close it. Normally, if this was just straight, it's going to be a little loose. They put the trim on after, so it looks good. But this, where the rollers are, where the wheels are, it pushes the whole door forward.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it seats against the jamb a little bit better. I think maybe a couple of other things to point out, and maybe not, but older homes aren't going to have a whole house surge protector. That's code required now. We've got a whole house transfer switch. From the outside, you'd use a portable generator. Because it's a low load home, you're gonna do really well if you ever lose power.
Are we EV charging ready?
Yes, right here.
So maybe we should probably explain that.
Right here.
This is our catch-all for everything. Power tools, chaps, the other ladder, the lawnmower. Okay, so you can plug in right there.
Yep. And then 50-gallon heat pump water heater. Taco Comfort 006 E3. This is an ECM water pump that is designed to run 24 hours a day. ECM means it's energy efficient. However, when you pair it with, I don't have one with me.
We have everything else here.
Well, it's here, it's just not plugged in because I don't want to be using electricity. If you pair it with their smart plug, you can have it set up to where it only pushes the water through, say, once every 10 minutes. I don't remember what the spec is. Or it does machine learning. And it pays attention to what your usage is for about a week, and then it'll figure out, as an example, okay, Timmy gets up at 4:15 every morning. It's gonna kick on, or you shower at 4:15, let's say. It's gonna kick on at 4:05.
Okay.
So by the time you wanna take your shower, you're not wasting the hot water. So to me, it's like the best of all worlds. You get the comfort, but you're not just burning up electricity all day long, circulating your house and getting that heat loss. So we've got a no threshold basement that you come into. And then I don't know if you remember this, but the underground plumbing was done wrong.
Yep. Oh, I remember.
So this is what we got out of it. And you'll see the same paint color upstairs. So you make the best of a situation.
So it was our way of not making the plumbers come back, jackhammer concrete out and move it. Does that Goodwill ever buy us anything?
Nope.
Nope.
It just makes us know that we're nice people. Okay, so under here you've got 2 inches of Logix Subterra foam, and that goes under the whole slab.
We have like how much pea gravel?
About 18 feet.
Yeah, I mean this. So the excavating contractor got this one. What did we need? 12-inch footings, and they ended up being like 17 at the front. There's a lot more concrete here than we needed. This was a time period in our life that, if I really dwell on it too long, I can get
Yeah.
like you're grinding your teeth. Anyway, so we have 12 inches of pea gravel, then the foam Xterra,
Yeah.
and then 4 inches of concrete.
Subterra, which I know that's being a little pedantic.
We can finish
Sometimes
each
we finish
other's
sentences. You're not going to have any vapor problems, but I still want to be careful. So we've got LVT down here, so it's luxury vinyl plank. Should something happen, typically you can just take this up, clean it off, and put it right back on. It's pretty bulletproof material. Approximately 9-foot ceilings, couple of inches lower, and because of how we do our mini split systems, we don't have any bulkheads. Nothing that needs to get softened down. It is Sherwin-Williams Accessible Beige is the paint color for those who are interested in that, and we've just been using it and it's worked. It's got a little bit of brown tone to it. I only say that because that's what Mom says. It's got a little brown in it. I'm part colorblind. Instead of grays, which is kind of out. So you get a little bit of something else to it. Alabaster should be the trim color for those of you who are wondering. In terms of accessibility, it won't surprise me if this is like a couple of, couple of households kind of join forces to afford it. So on the basement level, you have no threshold coming in. You've got a step-in shower. There's a bench. So it's not ADA compliant, which wouldn't apply to a residence, single-family residence anyways, but it's a little bit more, you've got living down here that you can get away with easy. A couple of other things along those lines is if you have levers and single levers for your plumbing, it's easier for people who might have some dexterous problems.
Accessibility issues.
Challenges. Okay, well, we'll just keep on going. So here's one of our quote-unquote bedrooms.
So this was the egress window we were outside and saw.
Yep. So upstairs, outside, you saw one of our heat pumps. This is one of the indoor units for that.
Which means they can have AC and their own heat, really make this room as comfortable as they want?
They can control that. Technically, whatever the heat pump is calling for, if it's heating or cooling, the one that's upstairs has to call for the same thing.
Oh.
So there could be some communication that has to happen, and that's just the real life. You have to buy a totally separate heat pump, a separate breaker at the panel. Like, it costs more money. This is kind of a realistic way to do it. Behind here is the whole house water shutoff valve, and we've got the FlobyMoen in here as well.
Which is?
It's a smart water shutoff. So it's a leak detector that will also turn off the water if it senses that there's something untoward going on.
Have we ever had an issue with a house that we wished that we had that?
I think about $120,000 back in around the year 2000.
98, 99?
Yeah. And so adjust that for inflation, that's like $1 billion today.
So plumbing broke loose on top of a 3-story house. Yeah. And we got to rip out drywall, you and me and Ryan.
Yep. Something else, just since we're in here, you can see that some of these windows are extra thick. So the way the foundation gets built, you've got your exterior wall that supports upstairs, but then we just fur out on the inside and make it easy. So
yeah, because it's 2x6 wall, 8-inch foundation, plus 2x4 wall for insulation.
Yep. And on this house, behind this furred-in wall, up against the concrete, we have Halo. That's probably Interra. They've got Subterra, Interra, Xterra.
That's right, because we put foam insulation against the foundation and then on top of that discrepancy between an 8-inch wall and a 5.5-inch wall.
So you're basically really reducing the thermal bridging. And this just turned off while we were in here. It's set for 65. I don't know if I have, we can go this way.
Yeah, because it's 41 degrees outside.
Yeah, and it just turned off with our body heat in here. Yeah, I don't think I have any, let me just turn the lights on. A thermometer in here to take a look at it.
Yeah.
There is a turn down ratio on these. The refrigerant will continue cycling through it, even if it's not calling for heating. So you're just never gonna have a problem with heat in this house.
Let me just, you can keep talking. I just think that we need a little bit of B-roll. Just. Okay.
Okay, so a couple of other quick things in here is just wraparound storage. We have a little light in there.
And you mentioned plumbing before. There was a mistake, and the plumbing is for a wet bar, right?
Yeah, so we've got drainage and supply right here.
So like a kitchenette?
Exactly. Yep, and then planning ahead, instead of your receptacle being down near floor level, you could use a hot plate or a little microwave or something like that. Exactly. You could put, maybe a little refrigerator, you know, just a little thing to get by. So this could be
basically its own apartment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. You can see from here now maybe that the grade is up just a little bit higher. So you can see how the concrete kind of played in. What Stan told Elizabeth, my wife, years ago is you don't design lighting for the daytime, you design it for the night. So it'd be kind of fun to come back here when it's actually dark. But during the day, you get all of this daylight. In the Washington State Energy Code commercial side, you have to do daylight harvesting. You don't do that in residential. You can.
So explain what that is. What is daylight harvesting?
Basically, right now it's bright out. I mean, if we turned off the lights, it's still pretty bright in these daylighting zones.
Yeah, you could read easily.
Yep. So you would use like dimmers, things of that nature, so that you're not wasting so much electricity because you're harvesting the daylight. Kind of cool.
Are we too backlit? Is that decent enough?
You guys are shadows.
Okay, I think that's okay.
It might illustrate the point.
Well, I can probably bump the shadows because it's going to expose off the windows.
Yeah.
The brightest. No,
Try
but
the other one.
As we walk, now we're in,
Yeah.
So they get the point. Okay.
So for lighting, in terms of a spec home and trying to save a little money, potentially, we've got one luminaire in here.
Because it's close to the windows?
Because it's close to those windows and these windows.
Okay.
And then over here, it's a little bit more even distribution. And then this is kind of like what I would call an Xbox wall. So somebody could mount something up here, they've got their power, they've got a home run, which is just another little tip. Instead of daisy chaining inside your house unless you've got a spot for it, just spend the money and do a home run for your coax.
Okay, so basically each TV would be a dedicated coax, okay.
Yep. It makes it so much easier.
And then I guess on the structural side, the reason why we've got the beam is the floor joists go front to back. This beam to carry the loads up above was just deeper than the floor joist. And we'll see when we go upstairs, we can't hide that up in the floor.
Right.
Because then you'd be tripping on the floor. So
Yep.
for some, you know, we could probably trim that out if somebody really cared.
And they'll never notice it.
Nobody will ever care. Except for that one person that comments below.
And then coat closet, basically it's just a big room for your hookups for your washer and dryer. You've got this whole wall here that you could use. And then just kind of some fun when it comes to the tile.
And if I remember right, that wall is a shear wall. It goes all the way up to the floor. And then this wall, this whole line is a shear wall. And then Terry had us, these walls are shear walls.
By sheer, do you mean mostly see-through?
No, that's like the tank tops you wear to the gym.
I don't think Ethan knew this move. Oh. Whoa.
Fool me once, shame on, can't get fooled again.
We've got that, and then the light downstairs, 3-weight in terms of controls. This does these 4 lights. There was quite a bit of, try to keep it simple. But I guess just coming into the kitchen, this is definitely a true great room concept home. One thing that we're going to do once we pull the furniture out of here is we will get our 3rd coat on the solid oak hardwood. We like to leave it for a long time to live. And now we're at that point where it's been long enough. And it'll just look better. Right now it's got a dull finish.
Acclimated, the house is moved.
Yeah.
We're not really moving stuff in and out. The trades aren't coming in and out. Might as well just final sand and final coat.
Yep. Yep. Usually we would do it right before somebody moves in, but the house has been sitting so long. So a couple of things. We do have a natural cabinetry look, which I think looks kind of nice. It's not just white like you see so much. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We do these as dual fuel. So right now it's connected to propane with a 120 receptacle, but we also have a 240. So if somebody decided to make it all electric or do a propane electric combination, they have that option. So it's an inexpensive, relatively speaking, upgrade to give people the flexibility.
It'd be like, this is so comfortable.
Yeah, and part of that is even the stairs are wide. It's nice and open. We've got 2 side lights, we've got a transom, we've got a light. The light goes transverse this way and that way.
And the sun behind it, it always comes up here, goes right over. So we're always gonna get sun coming in the back.
Yeah, and if you think about it, there's no houses, I mean, within 200 feet that way? There's nothing this way, nothing that way. So it's gonna react totally different on how it feels versus places that are close together where the buildings are shadowing it or a lot of trees that add shadow to it.
Hey, you wanna comment before we move on the mini split head? And
yeah.
How do you pick that size? What's the point of that and how comfortable is it in here?
So it's set for 65 and it's not 65 in here. I'm gonna guess it's about 68. This is, you can look there, I don't have my glasses on. That's a 15K BTU, so 15,000 BTUs per hour is this thing's capacity. Downstairs, I didn't look at it, it's probably a 9. 9 and 15 is 24, it's probably a 2-ton outdoor unit. It's still oversized, in my opinion, for what this particular area needs.
Is that because the heating contractor, is there a reason? Is that because we can't get a slightly smaller size?
Yeah, so we didn't get, nobody get on my case for this, we didn't get a manual JS&D done for this house. So there's no true mechanical design with load calculations. Even then, your design is only as good as the designer. So like we're working on one right now, and he didn't, bless his heart, he didn't do it right. And then when it gets over to Bob, I don't know how much you want in the video, but for those who are interested, some tips of the trade for saving money.
Because there's always the pushing The push and pull between design, cost, the contractor, and then the sub.
Yep. So the house down the street, we were able to size down. We've got the Initech triple pane windows. We've got continuous exterior insulation. We only need a 2-ton piece of equipment on the outside. We're going to have one piece of equipment upstairs, but downstairs, it calced out for a 9K BTU. So I have to examine the bid. Bob's got a 12 on there. Why is there a 12 on there? Well, they can't get any 9s. So I hate to do it, but I call Thermal Supply. They're moving over with the refrigerant transition from R410 to R32.
Is this the whole Washington State thing that?
It's not just Washington.
Okay, but I mean,
Yes.
because some of the other units that we've looked at for volunteer projects, we're at that in-between stage of the refrigerant. Okay, so it's affecting us too.
So they're running out of equipment. So he was going to do a 12. Well, I call, and they've got it under the R32 in a 9. That's going to save money. And it just took a little bit of extra work. So I talked to him yesterday, and I was like, I called. I hate to say it, the buck stops here.
Yeah, so it's not really a complaint or a criticism of the sub, whatever law might be enacted. It's just the reality of being a contractor and design.
And by us being slow, I can be that detailed. If we were fast, things are going to be done wrong all the time.
So if we did this again, this house tomorrow, under the current code and with what we know now, what size do you think this would be?
I think we would probably still have to have, I think we might be at about 30,000 BTUs heating load
And
on
this
the
is-
house. What we have installed is probably more like 48,000.
So what would
if
the price
they're two.
difference in round numbers be?
Oh,
do you know?
I wish I knew.
But
I
it's
wish I
enough
knew.
that that we would.
It matters.
Yeah, okay.
It definitely matters. What I was saying earlier is the designer had a 3-ton outdoor unit, but the loads didn't call for that. And so we were able to size down some of the equipment. Now when I have a good design, I can put that out for bid. If you can start it up front, getting a good design, but then you have to back check the designer sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that really isn't that your job as the builder?
In that case, it was our HERS rater that caught it.
But I mean, it's like I can blame the architect or the designer or the engineer, but if I'm the one that didn't double check that, I mean, it would be nice if everybody could just be completely relied on.
I don't think most builders are going to have the technical knowledge or whatever the case is. Have you looked at a manual JS&D report?
Can't even spell manual JS&D.
What that is it's a heating load calculation, heating and cooling, but we're a heating dominant climate here. Your equipment specifications, and then your duct design. The report we get, because it ends up getting used for Energy Star Zero Energy Ready Home, is like almost 100 pages.
Oh, ChatGPT, can you summarize this document
And
for
they're gonna goof it up.
It's on.
So I don't know what the solution is. I'm just glad that we're in a position.
It's just the realities of building.
Yeah.
I think that's for anybody watching. You know, there are a lot of the people are going to comment below. They totally get it. They're right in the middle on one side or another.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest keys is just don't be a jerk to anybody,
Including your older brother.
especially the framer.
Especially the framer. Just so I have something to add, this also is a shear wall. I'm shutting up now.
So coat closet, double vanity. This is one unit for the cabinetry, so that'll save you a little bit of money if you, this is a less expensive line. They come in 3-inch increments. If you can find cabinets that they make day in and day out, you're gonna save a little bit of money instead of having to go custom. Undermount sinks, we just do standard with our supplier for the fabricator for the countertop. That saves a little bit of money. Some upgrades, we've got the clicker drains, which I like because basically you have a little bit more flexibility behind your plumbing fixture. We've had problems with the conflict between where the plumbing fixture is and the backsplash. And then we've got our Gerber Vaughan. Won't get too deep into the weeds on that. Separate sort of water closet, bathing room, and then what we have for light in here, again, is our window. the Panasonic fan, I'll turn that on. It's got a light, night light. There we go. And then it's pretty darn quiet. I talked about ECM earlier. That's the electrically commutated motor. This is the same thing. So energy efficient in terms of your motor.
And maybe just a pass through. We've got access there for the units in the attic, and then 2 bedrooms.
And maybe one quick thing, and then we'll keep running. Right here is where the controls are for the ERV. So I've got a kill switch here. And then, I did. You can check out the label, boost. So it will basically ramp up the ERV to 100% so that if you've got a dinner party or something like that, you're getting extra outdoor air to keep better indoor air quality. But if it's just you by yourself, you're not going to need to produce, draw extra air.
And essentially an identical bedroom.
So in here, what we have is Timmy's patented hip tray ceiling, which I still think is fantastic. It's just a little touch. I like a bedroom. This is a pretty modest size, but it feels very cozy.
It feels bigger. Yeah, so do you know what year I wrote this up for JLC? The geometry and how to pre-cut everything on the ground?
2002.
I think it was 2005. Yeah.
So here's the accent wall we pointed at the very beginning downstairs. We used the same paint color back here, as painted by Greg. I think it has some nice depth to it. Around here, kind of that same idea with the home run piece of cable. This is where you'd mount a television. We pre-wired it for that. Walk-in closet, fairly typical, but it's pretty large.
It's big, yeah.
And then in here, we've got a very bright room. So here we do have the white. We have the white. We've got chrome finishes. I don't know where we got the mirrors, but I think this is one of my favorite bathrooms we've ever done. Kind of some decorative 2 light fixtures. In this case, we don't have a double duplex receptacle, which we typically do. We might have had the vent going through here, the plumbing vent. But anyway, I like the looks of it. And then in here, I don't know, Timmy, if you want to give it a shot, see if it fits you. But we have our soaking tub.
It's not wet, is it? That would be hilarious.
And there's a fair amount of planning. So make sure if you install one of those that you know what you're doing. And if possible, work with a plumber who knows what he or she is doing with those floor mounted units. You're tempting me. I wonder if the water works.
I am going to need help getting out of this thing. Just kidding. Yeah, that's nice. I would get one of those little things and I could just read
I
on
don't
my
think
Kindle.
your feet are supposed to be out of it.
For the first time, my legs are too long for something. Winning.
Come on in. So in this case, we worked with Seattle. Let me get the right switch. The Seattle Glass Company. And I absolutely love working with them. So Gerber Von trim again. And then these are kind of nice. Soap niche or soap dish, I think is a better term, that gets integrated at the grout line. That just has to get installed before you put your finishes on. And it's perforated, or it has those little cutouts so that it'll drain a little bit better than just a inexpensive decorative band that runs around. Something that we seem to be seeing more and more is just using a coat hook. Or that wouldn't be a coat hook, it would be a robe hook, towel hook. And you can tell I'm the son of an accountant because I turn off the lights as I exit my rooms. That is the receiver / thermostat for this. So if this will pick it up, I'll get close to it. It just received me turning the temperature up. So right now, again, I've got this one set for 65 and it's on auto. Because of that turn down ratio, there's still a little bit of heat that ends up getting generated as it goes through your outdoor units. And I think that's why it's keeping the temperature even warmer than it needs to be in here.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess as we close out the video, what's the price? I see there's a 3.99% financing. Explain that. And then why would somebody want to live in this particular community? Like, we chose to build here.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we choose to build here?
So I think the price is $797, $777. We bounced around a little bit. It's kind of a nice number. Another house that I just priced out ended with $666, and I chose not to stick with that number.
That limits the people who will buy it.
Yeah, that's not the clientele we're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a 1/4 acre. It was the last piece of property, basically. Well, I guess there was some others on this street, but we had to develop this property. It actually didn't have power to it, so.
And this is our 4th one on the street. 1, 2, 3. This is 1 of 4. Yeah, this is a nice street. There's like no traffic, it dead ends. So
Allen is kind of a little known community, but it's only about 20 minutes from Bremerton, 25 minutes from Tacoma. Olympia is not too terribly far. You and I don't commute, but for people who commute, Shelton, some of our tenants, I think one of them works down in Shelton.
I know somebody that lives out here that works for Amazon and commutes to Seattle when they don't have to do the remote. And it's because it's affordable.
Yep. So it is. Mason County, all things being equal, is going to be less expensive than other more expensive counties. As far as the 3.99%, sometimes we sell a house on contract. So usually we get a healthy down payment that helps to mitigate our risk exposure. In this case, we're offering a lower interest rate than what the market rates are, which is, I'm going to guess, 6.5% today. I don't know exactly what it is. So people, for a period of time, will spend less money on their mortgage payments to us. It locks up the house. We're getting a little bit of interest income. And then in about 2 years is what we like to do, is there's a balloon payment where they get financing in some other way, whether it's through a bank, inheritance, I don't know.
Yeah.
They pay us off, and they've been able to save money, and we've been able to basically not lower the price to meet the market.
And the logic behind that for a buyer is that in 2 years, with materials price, labor price, everything just continues to get more expensive. If you were to build this house in the next year or 2 years, it's going to have even a higher price tag.
And if you factor in what would a house like this cost for rent, and all of that money's out the window. Once they buy this, even if it's under contract, they're the deed holder. They can write off their mortgage interest. They can write off their property taxes. So there's also the tax side of the equation that as a tenant, maybe you're getting such a high rate of return elsewhere that that's how you want to invest your money. Most people want to build wealth in America by owning a house.
So basically what we're saying is you should just come and buy this house. Yeah, we've made a very strong argument.
Much faster way to say it.
Yeah, and like, who typically is buying our houses in a community like this?
That's one of the challenges. In a house like this, it's probably going to be like their last house that can afford this. They've been around for 30, 40 years and they bought houses in the 80s.
And it's
then here we
like
are.
lower operating costs. You know, we try to make decisions to minimize maintenance. You're in a community that people are walking every day, either on the golf course. Like, this is, it is a younger community than it used to be.
Yeah, if I was going to give the sales pitch to this house, because this really is a family house with maybe mom or dad has had to go into a nursing home. Maybe they're still living together, but they're just getting older. This is a nice aging in place house. Maybe you have some kids, so they get to be around the grandchildren, and it's a little bit more the way things used to be where families stayed together. You're going to spend less money in operating costs. I think more important is it's going to be more comfortable. Mm-hmm. Thermally, you're going to feel better. We talked earlier about sound. The house itself is more airtight, so you're going to feel a little bit more safe and secure inside your house. It's kind of a subconscious part of building science. But then you've got the ERV, so you're getting fresh filtered air from outside. None of these houses that are being built have that. At least none of the existing stock. And even those who are putting them in, this is the Panasonic IntelliBalance 100. It is such a good unit. We've used another ERV and it was a piece of junk. I'm not going to say who it was. And then I checked out another company. It was just like the fit and finish just wasn't there.
Yeah. So, like, there are people that live on the street. We see the grandparents walking the kids while the parents are working. You can drive right out and hit the golf course. we're remote but not far away from things that you need. So whatever you need is close by.
Yeah.
And if you need to commute to Tacoma or Seattle, that's doable.
There's a Starbucks in Belfair. Buy local.
Yeah, always buy local. Starbucks. Also, if we're gonna extend my long-running joke, literally the Amazon fulfillment center is 15 minutes away. So you can have same-day delivery. So there's really no reason not to move out here. In fact, why aren't we living here?
I think, aren't they expanding the Bremerton airport, or at least, so if you've got a private jet,
Yeah.
you've also got an airport close at
Yeah.
hand.
So this could just be a summer house.
Honestly, you are close to the Hood Canal
Yeah.
and the Olympics.
So as far as the community, I think the first house we built built here was in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been in here a long time. This community's been in existence for like 40 years. This golf course,
Yeah.
it goes way back to, I think, the early 70s. The family that originally owned this has finally sold off a lot of the other stuff. So it's an established community, great place to come and live. And of course, we'll be building in here for quite some time.
Yep.
We got a lot of lots.
Yep.
So, okay, that was a little bit of a longer video, but it just kind of, so this is a spec house.
Yep.
So some of that is the decision making is what things, they're going to cost more money. We've got a high performance house, but we're not just going for broke.
We've kept it honestly as simple as possible. Einstein's quote, keep everything as simple as possible and no simpler. There's not too many things I can think of that we could do to simplify how we've built this.
So it's simple, it's comfortable. We're trying to make good decisions as far as building science and all that good stuff. So anyway, comment below if you like this kind of video or if you have suggestions for us, if there's something that you wish that we would have covered. We'll try to cover that in the next video. Brian is a contributor to The Build Show, thebuildshownetwork.com.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best looking Build Show contributor. We can all agree with that. Steve is a very close second. Steve Basic Architect. Anyway, go follow Brian on The Build Show, and his personal channels are?
At Pioneer Builders, Inc.
At Pioneer Builders, Inc., Instagram, YouTube,
Yep.
The Talk.
Is that what they call it?
I don't know. I'm Gen X, so that's what we call it. Anyway, hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to see just amazing comedic content like this.
This was pretty amazing.
Yeah, follow the Euler Brothers. Property Brothers. Follow the Euler Brothers. Anyway.
Do they even own property? Am I right?
I think they're AI. So, okay. We could redo that or just call it and let it go out on a...
Whatever you want. I'm so used to saying something about the Build Show or something like that. Or have you seen my tag?
Okay, so I'm gonna let him go. Every time I record a video here for Huber, that stupid lawnmower went by, and I'm like, and here's how you clean the gun. What? Here comes the garbage truck. Do we want to walk up, or is there anything you want to point out here?
I think just that we have a ton of glass on the front of the house.
As soon as he goes by.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna do until the camera shuts off.
And I can just talk very briefly about the elevations.
Yeah, I'll
and
just
how
introduce it that we're gonna go around the outside.
Okay.
Since we are on the outside, he's just gonna circle right behind. And what I wanna do into like a box of nails, thanks a lot, garbage truck. I think I can get that audio. Now, remind me, I've got USB headphones. Nope. And scene. Calf cramped.